Ohio State is too good to not surpass the projected win total in 2024.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to a Thursday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Here on Thursday, July 11th in the year 2024. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com/locked on to get started. Ohio State is one of those teams, as we're in the month of July, middle of the month of July. It's crazy to think Big Ten Media Days will be here shortly. After that, it'll be the start of fall camp. After that, about a month later, the boys are back on the field in the shoe. It's crazy to think about all that, but Ohio State's going to continue to pick up steam and be the center of conversations around college football. And you're going to hear a lot of conversations about, well, Florida State's over-under win total is this. Alabama's over-under win total is this. For the first time since whatever year, 2008 or 9, they are doing something projected in the offseason that has never been projected before during that time period. You're going to hear a lot of talk. One of the things you're going to hear is, well, Ohio State's over-under win total right now is 10.5 wins. And you're going to hear, well, they'll do this, or well, they'll do that. Reality is, this team is too good right now to not surpass their over-under win total in the upcoming season. Think about what Ohio State has and what Ryan Day has put together this year. You got a transfer quarterback in Will Howard, really experienced, really good, really talented. No, he is not Stroud. No, he is not Fields. But they don't need a Stroud or Fields with the talent that is around Will Howard. You bring in Quinshon Judkins from Ole Miss. You have Trevion Henderson for one more year. That backfield, easily one of the best backfields in the country. You got an offensive line that has some questions, but it's still not one of the worst or even middle-level offensive lines in the country. Tight end room has questions, but there is talent in there too. Wide receiver room, you got to make Egbuka, who's a potential first-round pick in the next NFL draft. The rest of the guys are inexperienced. Some are even unproven in Jeremiah Smith. However, that room should be good once they get a few games under the belt. Defense, enough said. That defense that Ohio State has put together easily should be one of the best defenses in the entire country. Stopping the run, stopping the pass. They got some question marks on that side of the ball too, but that should not detour that unit from busting heads all year long. 10.5 wins is the projected win total by our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. Yeah, 11 might be better, but if they go 11, they already know where the public is going to bet. And if you go over under 10.5 wins, you might be like me to be more inclined to go over that projected win total of 10.5 wins rather than under. But that's where that sweet line is. It's where that little pushing point or pressure point is for the bettors, for people that really are trying to see, hey, does this make sense? Does it not make sense? From their logic, the over-under projected win total of 10.5 wins does make sense. And it also makes sense to me that this team will put the things together to surpass that projected win total. Now, look at Ohio State's schedule and why I think Ohio State will surpass their win total of 10.5 wins. First two games of the year, they're at home. It's against Akron. It's against Western Michigan. Should be cupcakes. Should blow them out the water. You have an off week, which is very huge for the youth. You got Will Howard, not young, but he's new to the team. Play a couple games, watch a little bit extra film, get your body right. And then after that off week, you got a home game against Marshall, should be a blowout. You go on the road to Michigan State, should be a blowout. Got a home game against Iowa, take care of business there. Then you go on the road to Austin Stadium at Oregon. That's where things get a little bit interesting because I personally think there are 3 games. I've been saying there's possibly 4, but I still think the Buckeyes will take care of business against that one team. We'll mention them in a second. But there's 3 teams, 3 games where Ohio State is saying, well, we got to really take care of business against these schools. One is on the road at Oregon in Austin Stadium. The other is a few weeks after Ohio State plays Oregon. That's on the road at Beaver Stadium in Happy Valley. And the other one is, of course, that game against Michigan that's in Ohio Stadium Thanksgiving weekend. And based off what my knowledge is right now, and I think all of our knowledge is, Ohio State has more talent than Oregon, more talent than Penn State, more talent than Michigan. Ohio State should easily take care of business, and they could easily take care of business and go to Oregon and win that game. I still think that's a toss-up. But if you had to say right now, who do I think is the favorite to win at Penn State between Ohio State and the Nittany Lions? Easily Ohio State. Who do I think right now is the favorite to beat Michigan Thanksgiving weekend? Be the Buckeyes and the Wolverines? Easily the Buckeyes. So there's that one game. And even if they lose that game against Oregon, they're already over the 10.5 win total. And you're 11-1. You're probably going to have a shot to play in the Big Ten Conference Championship game and to make in the playoff. So you're checking off some boxes. You're accomplishing some goals. Because if you're 11-1, the only loss is at Oregon, you beat Michigan for the first time since 2019. And you give yourself a shot to win the conference for the first time since 2020. And go into the playoff, and if you go deep and you do that thing like we think you do, if you continue to take care of business, you're winning the Natty for the first time since 2014, which was the first year of a playoff in the sport. And this year is the first year of a new format of the playoff. So Ohio State, just take care of business. Now, it's easier said than done, but this is the Buckeyes. This is what Ryan Day has been building for. This is what Ryan Day has been working towards. Ryan Day has been putting this team together to make noise this year. Just do it. It's easier said than done. There were obstacles along the way. Even that game against Nebraska, homecoming weekend. It's homecoming. There's some time between there. There's a time off between that game and the Oregon game. So there's a lot of things there that, hey, on paper, they may be a little hiccup. That may be a hiccup here or a hiccup there. But in reality, also on paper, that game is just made for Ohio State to go in there and just beat the Cornhuskers, who is an up-and-coming team, a better team in the Big Ten than some people will think they will be. However, just take care of business. If Ohio State takes care of business this year like they should, Ryan Day, your formula that you whipped up in your lab worked to perfection. If Ohio State does what they should do on the football field, what do we find with the Buckeyes? We find that the Buckeyes beat Michigan for the first time since 2019. They end up winning the conference for the first time since 2020. They not only go to the Natty for the first time since 2020, but they win that thing for the first time since 2014 by just simply taking care of business. Also, I'm hoping everybody stays healthy. Because as much as I would like to say, hey, yeah, take care of business. You're going to go out there and do this very well. You're going to be out there and making some noise. You're going to go out there and accomplish your goals. You're going to go out there and putting the talent in the right places like you should. We have seen how injuries have hurt this team of late. I don't want it to happen. I know you don't either. But this is a year. I don't normally say those words, but it just feels right. This is the year for Ohio State to not just talk, but to back up the talk with the play on the field. Talk is cheap. We got a lot of guys talking. Don't talk this year. Just do it. Just take care of business. I believe Ohio State has a great opportunity to take care of business in the upcoming year. EA Sports has been taking care of business by previewing and unleashing different rankings that people like you and I want to know before the release of the new college football game. And they recently released their top 100 players in the new video game that comes up next week. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games, and the sports aren't sporting like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus has the best selection of pool tables, game tables, shuffleboard tables, and more. And the best service is Central Ohio. Everything you need for in-home and even backyard entertainment is at Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus carries the best pool tables from Brunswick, Ahasson, Canada, billiards, and more. And the grills, whether you like charcoal or gas or wood-fired, Billiards Plus has a perfect setup for all grillers. They are family-owned and operated, and when you talk to the staff at Billiards Plus, you know you're talking to an expert who won't steer you wrong. No amount of the season, Billiards Plus has you covered for all your indoor and outdoor entertainment needs. Kenny, Sarah, and the whole staff will always go above and beyond to give you the best customer service in the industry. Billiards Plus. Visit their showroom on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. EA Sports. It's in the game. I wasn't planning on doing that to start the show or this segment of the show, but it just felt right. EA Sports, it's in the game, and I cannot wait to see this game and have it in my hands, fire it up on the PS5, and play the thing. Can't play consistently. I ain't 15 no more. I ain't 16 no more. But what I can do is when there's time, when my wife and I are working with life and work with the newborn in our home, hey, I might fire the thing up, play a game or two, shut it off, and make sure things are tidy around the home. But one thing I am happy with, and I'm trying to tidy up here as well, where Ohio State falls in the top 100 players overall rankings in the new EA Sports College Football 2025 video game. Ohio State had, count them, 8 players in the top 100. Think about that for a second. 8 guys in the top 100. Now, some of you might be saying, Jay, is that the most of any team? I believe it is. Ohio State, as my notes are a little wacky, they had more than Georgia, had more than Alabama. I actually have it pulled up here on my computer. I can get the exact numbers here in a second. They had more than Georgia, had more than Alabama. They both have 6 players apiece in the top 100. Oregon and Michigan both had 5 players apiece in the top 100. The Big Ten had 31 top 100 players. That's 2 more than the SEC. Think about what that means right now. Everybody talks about, well, SEC, it just means more. And I'm a person that believes it literally, football is a little bit different down there in the Southeastern Conference. But with the expanded Big Ten, Oregon helps out. You got USC helping out. You got Ohio State and the portal helping out. It just makes sense. Now, those guys that are at Ohio State that are in the top 100, Caleb Downs' overall rating is a 95. Quinshon Judkins, 95. Emeka Egbuka, 93. Travion Henderson, a 93. Going to dive into that here in a second. Jack Sawyer, 92. Donovan Jackson, 91. Denzel Burke, 91. And Tyleik Williams, a 91. Now, based off of the things that also, I'm going to preface this by saying, you and I watch a lot more Ohio State football than the people that are putting this game together. So, of course, we're going to look through Ohio State lenses, even if they're the correct lenses to look through. As far as, hey, don't be a homer, don't be too biased, but be realistic. I still think that in this game, based off how I've seen these guys play, Denzel Burke should be rated higher than Donovan Jackson. I don't think that's a hot take. I don't think that's a wrong take. I think that Donovan Jackson should not be ranked the same as Denzel Burke or even the same as Tyleik Williams. Nowhere close. No. Last year, Donovan Jackson played good ball, but I think Burke and Tyleik Williams were better. A lot better. Where does Ohio State fall when it comes to guys in the Big Ten? Top 10 guys there. Caleb Downs, of course, is the number 5 player, the 5th overall highest rated player in the game. 95 overall rating. He's the 2nd highest rated player in the Big Ten. Quinshon Judkins is number 4. Emeka Egbuka is number 6. Travion Henderson is number 7. Jack Sawyer is number 9. The highest rated player in the entire game. Y'all not going to like this, but it's true. Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan at 96. You got Mason Graham, D tackle from Michigan, the 3rd best player in the Big Ten. Via the video game, he is number 8 overall with a 95 overall ranking. Jay Higgins, Mike linebacker from Iowa, 16th best player overall in the game, 5th best player in the conference at 95 overall. one of the best parts about this game, and I can go through more rankings, and I got stuff on my notebook, and the highest rated quarterback, highest rated running back. Cool, I can go through all that stuff today. But I think one thing that's more important is not where we are right now, is that with this game and the implementation of technology, which we all love, and really how we get this show every day of the week, every Monday through Friday, is that every single week, rankings will change. Not can change, rankings will change. So if you're not, I would say rated, if you're rated right now, let's say you're Caleb Downs or you're 95 overall, but all of a sudden in the season, you're playing better than what you were projected to play like this in the preseason and where you had played previously. Well, Caleb Downs could be a 96 or be a 97 or be a 98 overall. Also, he can fall if things don't go the way that we think they should go. So I do like how they started things off right now. Is Will Johnson really, really good? Yes, absolutely. Can't deny that. But also, you don't want to start the game in the preseason with your best player rated at a 99. You don't. Absolutely not. That gives you no room for error, and the only place he can go is down. Now, especially with the game not being out there since 2013 was the last time the game was released. So that's a big reason why. Now, if it were Devin Hester 20 plus years ago at the U, and Devin Hester was a guy where you're saying, hey, what is he? A return specialist. Now, he did play a little bit of a little bit. He actually played more than you would think as a position player, but he was primarily a specialist as a return man. Now, based off of that, and if he is a specialist, great. 99, 98, preseason, cool. Like, I would not push back on that. But that's also a time period when the game was consistently coming out. So you already had a system. You already had a way to make things up, and in the moment, you had a system to really preview how players were going to be in the upcoming year. Right now, I'm cool with how everything is gone. Do I think that at the end of the year, Caleb Downs will be at 95? No, I think he'll be higher. Quinshon Judkins could stay at 95. Travion Henderson could move up, could move down. I think that Judkins being rated higher than Henderson, I think that's realistic. It also makes a whole lot more sense as to why Judkins is on the cover, one of the covers of the game, when Henderson is not. Now, you could have had Downs there, and it would have made a lot of sense to have Downs being the highest rated overall player at Ohio State on the cover when I believe they're in the Cotton Bowl Stadium down there in Dallas, Texas. It doesn't really tell you what stadium they're doing the preview video and photo shoot in. I don't know that I have not read that. Based off the picture, based off what I've seen on the television and the way the stadium is there, I think they're in the Cotton Bowl Stadium down there in Dallas. So yeah, they could have had Henderson. They could have had Will Howard, who's not rated, not surprising. They could have had Tua Malowau, who was not rated. That one shocks me a little bit. I think he'll be above the top 100 mark a few weeks into the season. Do you think they got it right? Do you think that Judkins should have been rated higher than Egbuka and Henderson right now? Let me know in the YouTube comment section on this video, because honestly, right now, it wouldn't shock me if those two guys, if Judkins was rated higher than Henderson all year long. One reason why I think this, and the main reason, both guys are really, really good. However, Judkins is a better between the tackle runner than Henderson. And I think a lot of his play at Ole Miss collectively was better collectively than what Henderson has at Ohio State. I know the numbers are comparable, but trust me, Judkins is special just like Henderson. But I think it's between the tackles' ability to run the rock, tote the rock, is why he is currently there right now. Now, while I'm thinking about EA Sports releasing their top 100 players and their ratings in the new video game, I started to think, who are the best players at Ohio State in the Ryan Day era that would be rated pretty high in the game? I'll tell you next. Thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every day. If you have not yet already subscribed to Locked On Buckeyes on Apple or Spotify or the YouTube or wherever you get your fine podcast, take the time right now to do it. Now, if you're driving on the treadmill, if you're running outside, be safe. Be very, very safe. But when you get to a stopping point, if you're busy, follow, subscribe, Locked On Buckeyes. Also, if you're on the YouTube, hit the bell so you are notified every time a new video goes live. Speaking of things going live, I can't wait for the video game to go live. And when it does, I'll be thinking internally, will they ever put old football teams in the new video game? Because I have been playing 2K a lot, and NBA 2K that is, and I have been playing with the 95-96 Bulls, and I play with some of the Warriors teams, the 15-16, the 16-17 team, play with the 2001 Lakers, because I like playing with old school players. I play a little bit with the Raptors with T-Mac and Vince Carter. Why? Because it's fun. The 13-14 Pacers, one of the teams that I've really enjoyed watching as a Pacers fan. I like playing old teams. Now, granted, I like playing some of the new teams as well, the current teams, but I love going back in time and kind of being a little nostalgic when it comes to teams and players that I'm playing with in a video game. And it made me wonder, who would be some of the higher-rated players in Ryan Day's tenure as Ohio State football coach, which goes back to 2019. And I tried to say who would be a 95 or higher, so that's a pretty lofty mark or bench point, but you kind of have to. Because if you think about where Buckeyes are right now in the current video game, Tyleik Williams 91, Denzel Burke 91, Donovan Jackson 91, Sawyer 92, Henderson 93, Ekbuka 93, Juckers 95, and Downs 95. Two of the best players at Ohio State currently are 95, which is insane company to be in. So I try to say, in my projections, now they may be a tick below 95 or right at 95 or a little bit above, but I can see Justin Fields being a 95 overall player, being one of the higher rated players in the game in the 2019 season. I got Justin Fields in 2019, going to go year by year. 2019, Justin Fields. 2019, J.K. Dobbins, Chase Young, Jeff Okudah, and Wyatt Davis as well, being one of the higher rated Ohio State players in that version of the video game. Jeff Okudah is one of those guys that I don't think gets enough. Well, he does, but let's not forget. Let's change that statement. Let's not forget how good and elite Jeff Okudah was in that 2019 season. Because trust me, if it was not for Jeff Okudah, I don't think Ohio State would have been in the position that they were in at the end of the year. Now, granted, on both sides of the ball, you had dudes, you had studs all over the place. Starting with the quarterback, J.K. Dobbins rushing for over 2,000 yards. Chase Young, a Heisman finalist, had 16.5 sacks in that year. Wyatt Davis, oh my gosh, it's so much fun to watch. And then Jeff Okudah. Now, you can say, Jay, well, what about the receivers? Yes, Olave is good. Wilson, I believe, was a freshman. So they had some really, really, really good guys. But I think all of these guys were actually better than those two receivers. I could put Olave in here, but I think he would be on the back end, either 5 or 6, when it comes to overall ratings in the game. 2020, it's a weird year. Got that COVID year. Justin Fields was not the same quarterback that he was in 2019. The running back situation, I believe Master Teague started at the beginning portion of the season at running back. Trey Sermon caught on late once he got healthy and really understood the Buckeyes playbook and really just went off at the end of the year. I don't believe that Ohio State wins that 2020 Big Ten championship if it was not for the way that Sermon ran the ball in that game. I don't know, man. I was thinking about it. I mean, you got receivers. I mean, you could say Olave and Wilson. You could say the receivers. I don't think Jameson Williams was good enough at that time for that. Paris Johnson Jr. was too young to even be in that situation. So it's weird to say no Ohio State player would be close to being rated at 95 overall. But, I mean, that team was good. I just don't know exactly where that would be. I say Olave. I just love it. I got a jersey in my closet. I don't have many Ohio State jerseys in my closet, but his is in there. 2021, Denzel Burke was a freshman, started that year. I got a question mark next to him because going into the season, nobody would have projected him to be a top, even 90 overall. So I believe that was the year Seven Banks got hurt at the beginning of the season. Seven Banks gets hurt. All of a sudden, first snap of the game. Who is that? Who is that corner? Well, he not one of the seasoned vets. Who is that corner? People are trying to figure out who it was. It's Denzel Burke, and now he's easily one of the best corners in the country. C.J. Stroud, 2021 would have been a 95 or higher rated player. In Jigba, stupid numbers. Stupid numbers. Over 1,600 receiving yards, 16 receiving touchdowns. He was just a monster, set a bowl game record, set a Rose Bowl game record. I mean, this man was just balling all year long, and Jig was there. Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. Now, one thing you notice here, Denzel Burke's the only player on defense that's even in the conversation. Why? Defense wasn't that good in 2021. Not at all. Now, things changed in 2022, because in 2022, also, I don't think Henderson would have been 95 overall at any point in the season. He was good. Don't get me wrong. He was good. But once he kind of hit that wall, I was kind of like, I don't think it's going to be where he's going to be. 2022, Stroud, Route Man Marv, Egbuka, easily. Denzel Burke, easily. Paris Johnson Jr., easily. Tommy Eichenberg, 120 tackles in that season. That's when the defense started to play better under Jim Knowles. Also, I believe it was year one under Knowles' defensive system. So that kind of made a whole lot of sense, thinking about, okay, you got these guys. You got some guys that are really good. Eichenberg, who buys in easily to what the coach is preaching, fit what Knowles wanted and the aggressive nature he wanted from his linebackers to a T. Ike was a dog, and I do miss watching that version of Tommy Eichenberg in 2022. It was so much fun to watch. Now, last year, it was a little bit different. 2022, you had the injury bug hit you at running back. Multiple guys went down. Henderson went down. Mine went down a little bit. You ended up, I believe, starting Dallin Hayden in the game against Michigan, where I was one saying, hey, Hayden is good. I think Chip Traynor can get the job done. Hayden came in and got the job done as a true freshman, which was when I started to tip the cap and say, oh, no, I know what I think you can do, but doing it in that game, even though it was a loss, I gained a lot of respect for Dallin Hayden, the running back. But last year, ain't no quarterback, no offensive lineman, no tight end. At receiver, Route Man Marv, I don't see a running back being one of the higher-rated players. On defense, at D-line, as much as the only person I really say on D-line is Tyleik Williams. Michael Hall Jr., no. Ty Hamilton, absolutely not. Not in this conversation. Sawyer Tuimoloau, no. In defense, Burke, Ransom, Igbinosun, Styles, Proctor. It's weird, man. We're talking about some of the best in the video game. And even though Ohio State's defense played a whole lot better last year, it was better as a unit, not overall. So keep this in mind. This year, now last year's team was not like 2020's team, so I'm not going to put those two things even close together. However, this year, I could easily see at the end of the season a receiver, Jeremiah Smith, being one of the higher-rated Ohio State players, top 100 guy, easily, based off what we think he can do. Egbuka, yes. Henderson and Judkins, yes. It wouldn't shock me if Will Howard played like we think he will play. I'm not saying be a Stroud or a Fields quarterback or be able to run the ball like JT Barrett. I'm not going that far. But what I will say is he doesn't have to. That's not what he's being asked to do. He's asked to stay within the confines of the playbook and watch Chip Kelly and with the guidance of Ryan Day to run the offense to perfection. That's really it. Now, perfection is a lofty thing. Really high expectations. Maybe not perfection, but run the thing very, very well. At receiver, we got a couple guys. On defense, I think Tuimoloau is going to be a top 100 player. I think Sawyer can stay in that thing. I think Tyleik Williams can be closer to a 95 overall rated player at the end of the season. And then you got Burke, you got Downs. If Ransom did not get hurt last year, and he actually didn't get hurt a couple of years prior to that, I think Ransom is in the top 100 too. A lot of guys at Ohio State that are going to make some noise in the upcoming season. Over 120 FBS schools that are in this game, and Ohio State not only currently has the most rated players, the most players in the top 100 of the video game, they should, and it wouldn't shock me if they had the most at the end of the year too. Out of here, y'all, on a Thursday. Glad to be back with you. Got one more show left this week. They're going to ramp up some stuff, some preseason conversations when it comes to tight ends and offensive linemen and defensive tackles and corners and safeties to kind of get more of the nerd style of conversations with those positions heading into Big Ten Media Days. Going to break that down all week long and then get ready for fall camp. Before you know it, college football will be back, and we'll be spending our Saturdays watching the Ohio State Buckeyes bust heads all game long. You can follow me on X at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317 at gmail.com. Out of here, y'all, on a Thursday. We'll see you next time.